Good evening everyone, this is Sam. Today I'm bringing you yet another video. It's going to be almost the third one today, and this one is going to be dedicated to the Soulbeast, which is the new ranger specialization.
Weekend millionaires, just trying to be cool. Yeah, one day we'll be there, till Monday comes again. We're weekend millionaires.
Now, we have had the X-Pack preview show yesterday, and during that show, Wooden Potatoes alongside Bogarter have presented to us quite a few specializations. However, Soulbeast wasn't one that was covered by them, and instead was presented rather briefly by Aurora Peachy. While she did not give much explanation as to how the class intrinsically worked or as to some specificities of its abilities, we have been given a glimpse of some traits as well as some weapon skills and some utility skills. I will be going over these in the hope to give you guys some information that you might not have seen on Reddit, as well as some personal concerns on the class overall. First of all, it would be good to remind everyone of the weapon that the specialization is getting. That weapon is the main hand dagger. For the people who are not aware with how the offhand dagger works on Ranger, it is actually a condition damage weapon. And now we are getting the main hand dagger, which also happens to be a condition damage weapon. At the moment, Condition Ranger is one of the good classes when it comes to dealing good damage with a rather simple rotation. This is going to be changing due to the condition duration nerf that was announced today. However, we have yet to see if the class will be nerfed to the ground. We can thus be looking towards Soulbeast as a possible opportunity for Ranger to be getting more damage in the upcoming expansion. Now, let's have a look at the skills of the weapon. The thing with the Soulbeast is mostly that it gives conditions on the auto attack chain, so this is quite interesting as there does not appear to be any kind of ICD, meaning that under the effect of quickness we're gonna get an extremely fast application of conditions. This is the same as the way the short bow is working currently on Ranger, and is in my opinion extremely good. We are probably gonna be playing something like short bow and dagger, but this is yet to be seen. As you can see on the auto attack chain, we're getting vulnerability, bleeds and poison. The fact that we are having two main conditions and that we would probably end up dropping the torch is rather beneficial to us, because we could be focusing on specific condition duration instead of having to be all around like we are at the moment. I do not want to go into too much speculation over how the specialization is going to work, but this is an idea that we can keep in mind for the moment. The other two skills of the dagger are also quite interesting. The second skill also gives bleeding and poison, and the third skill gives you quickness upon successful hit. Quickness is quite interesting on Ranger because we also have traits that end up giving us quickness. So for example, Strider's defense, while you evade an attack and wielding a sword you gain quickness. This is not interesting with the dagger main hand, as you would not want to run something like sword dagger, except maybe in PvP on a Condi bunker build. We do not know if that will work out yet, but we can still speculate. As far as the utilities go, we are having stances with the Soulbeast specialization. The stances are for the moment 5 skill as usual, and we are gonna have a look at the heal skill first. So the bear stance allows you to heal yourself and your pet, and you lose conditions while in this stance, healing for each condition lost. It is already quite funny to me that the skills mention your pet, because the main idea of the Soulbeast is the specific mechanic named Beast Mode, which allow you to merge with your pet and gain some skills specific to that mode, as well as some bonus to your attributes. The fact that the heal skill mentions your pet means that you are not gonna be getting anything specific while in the Beast Mode. Or at least we can expect it that way, unless our internet thinks about implementing it properly. Then, we have the Griffin stance. Gain endurance, your endurance recovery is greatly improved, and you get might when you evade attacks. This is quite interesting and comes to replace more or less the lightning reflexes. However, I am not sure it is going to be getting much play unless you're going to be roaming in War vs World. So far, I would not say whether it is good or not until I can get my hands on it. It is on a rather long cooldown, which makes it detrimental to a class that will be relying on quite fast attacks as per the dagger functioning. The tool extends: gain defensive boons and remove conditions that impede movement. Prevent application of such conditions while in distance. This is something that we had on Druid as a trait, and in my opinion it is pretty good that we're getting it back on Ranger with the Soulbeast. So retaliation and stability are rather interesting, but Ranger has some other sources of stability that are strong as well, such as the elite skill, strength of the pack, and the signet use, which is the signet of the wild. In my opinion, this is pretty good, but it is probably not going to be seen much on Ranger either. Now we have the Vulture stance. While in this stance, striking a foe grants you might if they are above the health threshold and inflicts poison if they are below it. This is pretty good because Ranger is one of these classes that has quite strong openers if you know how to do them properly. So one of the most classic openers on Ranger in solo is to use the Warhorn 4 skill for a lot of hits, and then to use We Heal as one in order to get might from your pet. And this is kind of a situation that is similar. You are getting might if you hit the foe, and it does not appear to have any sort of an internal cooldown, which means that if you use Warhorn at the start of the fight, you would start the fight with 16 might. This is extremely worth it, and I think that I would actually end up using that skill. Poison as the fight goes on is also very good, because poison is one of the two main conditions that we're getting damage increases for on Ranger, and I think that we should actually see that one played. Last but not least, the elite skill, One Wolf Pack. Your successful attacks will trigger a second strike while in this stance. So second strike meaning that there is an attack with a base damage of 415, and the skill itself has an effect that lasts 8 seconds. Personally, I do not think this is exactly good. Like, I would not take that over Strength of the Pack or over Entangle, mostly for the fact that the effect is too short compared to the cooldown. As such, I do not think most of the stances are going to see much play, but we have yet to see how they will be countering other specializations in PvP and World vs World before making any definitive decisions. In the second time, we're gonna have a look at some of the traits that were revealed to us by Aurora Peachy, and hopefully these traits are gonna be giving us a good enough insight as to how the Soulbeast works, and to allow us to maybe make some valid points as to what feels clunky on the class as it is right now. Elevated Bond. Gain access to stances. Survival in the desert has enhanced your connection to your pet, granting you the ability to meld with them by entering beast mode. As we said previously, beast mode is something permanent. Just so you know. Like, once you enter it, you are not on a cooldown, or you are not on a bar that is depleting, as it seems. Like Celestial Avatar, which actually depletes once you enter it. So you should be able to remain in beast mode and make full use of the effects of it. So, however, I think that the best way to be using it will probably to swap in and out of it as you want specific skills to be used in one mode or the other. The main idea behind that is that some skills are probably going to be more interesting to use if you have a pet with you, and some skills are going to be more interesting to use if you have merged with your pet. Like, as it says in the description, traits that affect your pet may affect you differently while in beast mode. And that's gonna be part of our valid concerns right there, because Ranger is a class that was built around the pet. So we don't have much more information as to what happens when you merge with it and the effect of all the traits that were previously there, as well as some specific utilities. For example, all the shouts are basically affecting the pet as well. Every shout that we have is tied to an effect on it. And if you have merged with the pet, does that mean that you are completely unable to use any shout? These are some valid questions, and sadly we're not going to be able to test the specializations when we're going to be doing the beta weekend in about 10 days, so I am not sure what to think, in all honesty. But for the end of the video, let's have a look at the Grandmaster traits. So the first one, Eternal Bond. While in Beast mode, if you would be down, you would instead fall out of Beast mode and recover health. The trait is unique per game mode. For the people who are not aware, this is quite similar to the trait from Berserker, which is called Last Stand, if I'm not mistaken. Someone please correct me. That trait allows you, when you're in Berserker, if you were to take a lethal blow, you instead heal up. This is how Berserkers actually survive a lot of hits in PvP, because basically if you enter Berserk, you have a good chance of actually surviving death once. It is on a much shorter internal cooldown than this trait right here, so either they might nerf Berserker or Ranger will actually remain subpar. Leader of the Pack. Skills grant their effects to nearby alive for a reduced duration. This is said to be a stance, but the real question is, as it says skills, does it mean only stances? So even if it is only stances, that would mean that, let's say for a limited amount of time, you could be sharing party-wide access to poison application. You could be sharing party-wide stability, you could be sharing party-wide endurance. This is quite solid, and well, quite possibly you could be sharing party-wide heal. Skills grants their effect to nearby alive for reduced duration. It might actually just be that. We cannot know yet, but I have a lot of good expectations for this trait. Finally, Oppressive Superiority. Deal increased damage to foes who have less health than you. Conditions you apply to foes with less health than you last longer. This is actually either very good or very bad. I sincerely hope there is going to be a split for that trait between PvP and PvE, because if this is as it is in PvE, it's going to be garbage. Like, Ranger walks around with, as you can see on my screen, about 16k health, and a lot of stuff, trust me, a lot of stuff around you has more than 16k. So it's gonna be completely garbo unless it works as a percentage in PvE, which in that case would be super good to us. Because if you think about it, usually in your group you maintain a scholar uptime of about 95%. And if you actually 95% of the time have plus 10% damage and plus 10 duration increase, because, well, you assume that the boss is going to drop relatively fast, that is pretty damn amazing, because the damage you are getting from it is non-negligible. And since we have the Conti duration nerf right now, it would actually be even better. So we might actually be able to be playing a Soulbeast that would have maybe first rate wellness, survival obviously, ambidextry would still be pretty good because dagger offhand will be very solid, and Poison Master is a very high value, as well as hidden barbs, because bleeding and poison would be the only two conditions we would be playing with. So really, I think that we could be replacing Beast Mastery for Soulbeast, but well, we will see how it goes in the end. And last, one point that was made and brought up by a friend of mine is that Soulbeast is a spec that is forever evolving, because it relies on merging with the pets, which means that each time we're going to be getting a new pet or a change to the pet system or a change to some existing pets, the class itself is probably going to get some slight balance, because it would end up maybe being otherwise unbalanced. So I will really be looking forward to seeing what they do with each and every one of the pets. As a reminder, when you merge with a pet, you get specific changes to your attributes, as said earlier, and I am really hoping that some of these are going to give you expertise or are going to be giving you a boost to condition damage, precision power, whatever. I'm really hoping that Soulbeast is going to end up being amazing, and I wish every single one of you to try it out and hopefully love it in the next X-Pack. If you're going to be buying the X-Pack, please use the link from my homie Inks. I'm going to be leaving that link in the description, because he could really use some of our help, and I think it is pretty cool to do so. I am not a partner myself, so I think I should be, boosting all the partners if I can, and Inks completely deserves it. So if you buy the X-Pack, please do it through him. Finally, we still have that Q&A going on. You can still ask any and every question, and at the moment there are only 7. That's very small. So please go for it. I'll like that. And until then, I wish every single one of you some happy playing and to have fun.